Okay, good morning students. Now today we are going to start the next module, module number 2. Module 2. And the name of the second module is vector space and matrix algebra. Vector space and matrix algebra. Most of the part of this module you already studied in the SY if you are having mathematics then. And the various topics that we have to study in the vector space and matrix algebra are: the very first topic is what is meant by vector space and vectors, and in particularly we have to study dependent and independent vectors. Dependent and independent vectors. Isn't it? The second important topic is after that what is meant by vector space. Vector space. Then matrix representation of a vector space. Matrix representation. Matrix representation. Right. Eigenvalues and eigenvector. Next topic, eigenvalues. And eigenvectors. Similarity transformation is one of the topic in between. Next is the inner product. Inner product and Gram-Schmidt orthogonalization method. Gram-Schmidt orthogonalization procedure, I can say. Procedure, right? And then last is diagonalization. Before that, the various type of the matrices and the diagonalization. So these are the various topics that we have to cover in module number 2. Now let us try to understand what is a vector space and then dependent and independent vectors, right? So to understand what is meant by a vector space, let us consider K be the given vector field. Let K is any given vector field, and V is a non-empty set. V is a non-empty set of vectors. Is that it? And in particularly this V, which is a non-empty set of vectors, this follows the rules of addition as well as scalar multiplication. If V follows the rules of addition and scalar multiplication, along with that, if suppose small u and small v, these are the elements of a vector capital V or a set of vectors capital V, and u plus v, that is summation of the two vectors, is also an elements of a vector space V, then to any vector u, small u is any vector which belongs to a vector space V, and k is any scalar. The small k is any scalar which is a set of vectors, this capital K, where capital K is a vector field. Then Ku, that is multiplication of the scalar k to the vector u, also belongs to the vector space capital V. Then this capital V is said to be a vector space, is said to be a vector space of K, if and only if this U, V, K follows some axioms. If it follows axioms, there are total 8 axioms, those to be followed by these vectors, and if these are followed, then this capital V, which is a set of vectors or non-unity set of vectors, is said to be a vector space of K. What are those axioms? Let's go for those axioms. So the first axiom is that if U, V and W are the three, if U, V and W, all three belongs to a set of vector capital V, that means U, V and W are the elements of vector V, then the addition of all the three, U plus V plus W, can be written as U plus V plus W. This first axiom must be followed or satisfied. Second axiom to be followed to have a particular set of a vector space is a zero vector. If you add any zero vector, if there is a zero vector V which is a 0, if there is a vector V which is 0, then U plus 0 is equals to U. If this is followed, this is the second axiom. If this is followed, then the given set of vectors is called as a vector space, right? Similarly, third axiom to be followed is a negative vector, right? And we know that for each vector U which belongs to a vector space capital V, there is another vector called as minus U, which is called as a negative vector of vector U, right? So that the addition of these two, that means vector and its negative vector, U plus into bracket minus U is equals to a 0. The addition of this vector and its negative vector gives you a 0. Then if this axiom, third axiom, is followed, then the given set of a vector capital V is said to be a vector space, right? Similarly, the fourth axiom to be followed is that addition of two vectors, if U and V are the two vectors. In the first axiom we have considered three different vectors U, V and W, let us consider here two vectors only, u and v. If u and v are the two vectors and the addition of the two vector is written as u plus v, and if this addition, if you are able to write in the form of u v plus u, then the fourth axiom is said to be followed. So first four axioms are for the addition and the next four axioms are for the multiplication, right? So the next vector to be followed is, let me write this, and let me write all the multiplying or multiplication axioms, remaining four. So the next is the fifth axiom is for multiplication, and if suppose for any scalar, 1 is a scalar, 2 is a scalar, likewise for any scalar which belongs to a set of vectors k, k is itself a set of scalars, right? And if for any scalar 1 which belongs to a set of scalars, if you are able to write 1 into u, u is a vectors, the scalar multiplied by vector, if you are able to write in the form of addition of the vectors u plus v, right? And suppose this scalar is a k, let us assume, and if this is, you are writing in the form of its multiplication, that is ku plus kv, right? So this is the first axiom of multiplication. The sixth axiom that must be followed is, suppose a and b are the two scalars which belongs to the set of scalar k, and if addition of the two scalars, that means a plus b into a particular vector u, if you are able to write this in the form of au plus bu, then the sixth axiom is said to be followed. If this is followed, then the given vector field k or given vector space phi is said to be a vector space of the given field k. Seventh axiom to be followed by the particular vector is, if the multiplication of the two scalar ab into a particular vector, if you are able to write this in the form of a into b u or b into au, right? These are simple algebraic rules only, but those must be followed by the vectors. If these are followed, then the given vector is said to be a vector space. And the last axiom to be followed by a particular set of a vector is, if there is a unit vector 1 which belongs to a set of a scalar k, and if the multiplication of this unit vector into u is equals to u itself, if these all 8 axioms are followed by a particular vector space v, then v is said to be a vector space of given field k. There are some properties of a vector addition. Let's go for those properties, and once the properties are finished, then we'll see one example based on the vector space. So if I can say the properties of the vector addition. Properties of vector addition. All these properties are very simple, which are followed by a simple algebraic rules only. So very first is, let us consider u1, u2, u3, likewise un various vectors, and the addition of all these vectors is written as u1 plus u2 plus u3 plus dot 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 up to the last vector un, right? Generally the addition of various quantities we are keeping into a parenthesis, but in case of this vector addition you need not require any parenthesis, isn't it? So this is the first property of the vector addition. Let's go for the second property of the vector addition, and the second property of the vector addition is a zero vector. And the zero vector is a unique vector, right? There is no other alternative vector to the zero vector. If you add the zero vector into any other vector, you will get the vector itself. This is called as the zero vector, which is unique. The third is negative vector is also a unique vector. Negative vector, I will write in short. Negative vector is also a unique vector. This is the third property of the vector additions. And the fourth one, if there are three vectors u, v and w, if u, v and w are the three vectors which belongs to the vector v, and if you are writing u plus v is equals to u plus w, this implies that the vector v and w are equal vectors, isn't it? Right? The next property of the vector addition is if k is any scalar which belongs to the vector the field capital K, and if 0 belongs to the vector field capital V, then the scalar multiplication of scalar into a zero vector is equals to a 0, right? The next property is if 0 is any scalar and this 0 scalar, now earlier case 0 is a vector, now in this property 0 is a scalar now, and if this scalar belongs to the scalar field, the field K, and u belongs to the vector field V, then 0 multiplication of this scalar and vector, that means u and 0 is also equals to 0. The next property, if the multiplication of the property number 7, if k is any scalar belongs to k and u is any vector belongs to a set of vectors v, and if the multiplication of the scalar and vector is equals to 0, this implies that either k is equals to 0 or u is equals to 0. Out of these two, scalar or vector, if any one is equals to 0, then and only then the multiplication of both is possible equals to 0, right? Now the next property is for any scalar k belongs to 8, for any scalar k which belongs to a field capital K and a vector u which belongs to a vector field V, if this multiplication of minus k and u, I will write in this way, is equals to minus time ku, or if you are able to write this is equals to a scalar into negative times the vector, right? So negative vector into a negative scalar into a vector is equal to scalar into a negative vector. If you are able to write in this form, if K is a element of field K and U is a vector of the vector field. So these are the various properties of the vector additions to understand the vector space, right? Now let's go for one example and let us follow all these rules and check whether the given example follows all the given 8 conditions for addition and for multiplication or not. If this is followed, then and only then the given vector space is said to be a vector space of a field K, otherwise not. So let's go for the first example. If V is a set of vectors x and y, and this set of vectors x and y belongs to a real field R, that means real numbers, right? Then show that V is a vector space. Then show that this capital V is a vector space. Now how to show that whether the given capital V is a vector space of x and y or not? Now in order to check whether the given vector capital V is a vector space of x and y or not, we have to check for all the 8 different axioms, right? So let's go for the first axiom. Let us indicate it with A1, A2. Let's indicate with all the first 4 axioms for addition, A1, A2, A3, A4, and multiplication axioms by M1, M2, M3, M4. Fine. So the first axiom for the vectors is if there are 3 vectors u, v and w, and if you are able to write these vectors u plus v into w plus w is equals to u plus v plus w in other bracket, then the given axiom is followed, right? So let's take the 3 different vectors here. Let us say u is a set of vectors u1 and u2. Similarly, v is a vector of a set of vectors v1 and v2, and w is a vector of set of vectors w1 and w2, right? Now addition of these 2 vectors, 3 vectors u plus v plus w, if you are able to write these vectors in the form of u plus v plus w, then the given vectors are said to be a vector space of x and y. Got it? So let's do it. So this gives me, we have to check this and we have to show this. So u plus v plus w, this will give us u1 plus u1 u2 plus v1 v2. These are in one bracket, so let me do this in this way, right? Plus w is a set of 2 vectors, that is w1 and w2, and if you add these, then you will get this is equals to u1 plus v1 into one bracket plus u2 plus v2 plus w1 and w2, right? In the next step you can add this u1 v1 plus w1, so this will give you u1 plus v1 in a bracket plus w1 and u2 plus v2 in a bracket plus w2 outside the bracket. Is that it? This can be written as u1 plus v1 plus w1. I can change the bracket as we have studied the properties of vectors. So u2 plus v2 plus w2, right? If this can be done, then we can write this as u1 u2. So u1 and u2 I can write in one bracket, isn't it? Plus v1 v2 I can write in the other bracket, and this bracket I will change here because these are u and v and w are in one bracket, plus w1 w2. So this gives me u plus v plus w. u1 u2 is a vector u, v1 v2 is a vector v, and w1 w2 is a vector w. And thus I can say u plus v plus w can be written as u plus v plus w. That means first axiom for the addition of the vector is followed, right? In this way we have to check other axioms. So the first is followed. Let's go and check the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh and eighth. So let me write only here. A1 is followed. I will just write here A1 is followed, and let's go and check the second axiom. What was the second axiom? Second axiom is for zero vector addition, and again consider the vector u, and the element of this vector u is u1 u2, and there is one more vector 0 whose elements are 0 0, right? And if you add these two, then you will get u plus 0 is equals to u1 u2 plus 0 0, and this addition will give you u1 u2 only, right? u1 plus 0 and u2 plus 0, which gives you u1 u2. This is nothing but your original vector u only. This indicates that the second axiom is also followed, right? So this implies the A2 is followed, right? A2 is followed or verified. Similarly, check for A3. And what is the third axiom for the addition of the vector? I think negative vector. If u is the given vector and minus u is the negative vector, then addition of u plus into bracket minus times u is equals to 0. So let us consider here the vector, and it's a negative vector. So let us say u is a vector whose elements are u1 and u2, and minus u is a vector whose elements are minus time u1 and u2, right? If these are the two vectors, then the addition of the two vector u plus minus time u is equals to, you can add these two, and if you add these two, you will get u1 u2 plus minus time u1 and minus time u2, and its addition will be equals to u1 minus u1 and u2 minus u2, right? This gives you a 0 0 vector, and therefore u plus minus time u is equals to 0. This indicates A3 is also followed. A3 is also followed, isn't it? The third axiom is followed. If the third axiom is followed, let's go and check the fourth axiom. And the fourth axiom is for addition of the two vectors. If u and v are the two vectors, and if you are able to write u plus v is equal to v plus u, then the fourth axiom is said to be followed, right? So let's consider again u1 is checked, a2 is checked, a3 is also checked, and let's check the a4. So let us say u is a set of vectors having a vectors u1 and u2, v is a set of vectors having a vectors v1 and v2, and if u plus v is written as v plus b, v plus u, then the fourth axiom is said to be followed, right? So let's add them. So u plus v will give you u1 u2 plus v1 v2. This will give me u1 plus v1 and u2 plus v2. Got it? If this is can be written as v1 plus u1 and v2 plus u2, then this will be equals to I would be able to write this as v1 v2 plus u1 u2, and this is nothing but v plus u, and therefore I can say u plus v is equal to v plus u. The fourth axiom for the addition of the vector is followed. If the fourth axiom is also followed, then check the multiplication axioms. 4 multiplication axioms, isn't it? So for first multiplication axiom is for any scalar k and vectors. The first multiplication axiom, if k is a scalar and u and v are the two vectors, then if you are able to write this in the form of ku plus kv, then the given axiom is said to be followed. So in order to do this, k is any scalar and u is a vector having its elements as u1 u2, and v is a vector having its elements as v1 and v2, and if k into u plus v is equals to k into u1 u2 plus v1 v2, then k can be multiplied and written as k u1 k u2 plus k v1 k v2, isn't it? Therefore I can write ku plus kv, and thus I can say this axiom is also followed, right? The multiplication axiom is also followed. If the first multiplication axiom is followed, let's go and check the second multiplication axiom. And before going to the second multiplication axiom, let me make it clear. All the 4 addition axioms and the first multiplication axiom is checked, and we have observed that those are followed. So let's check for m2. And what is m2 axiom? m2 axiom is for any scalars a and b belongs to a field k, and u is a vector belongs to a vector field v, and if you are able to write a plus b into u is equals to au plus bu, then the given axiom m2 is said to be followed. Now to do this, let us consider u is a vector and its elements are u1 u2, and check for this. So a plus b into u1 u2, this is equals to a plus b u1 and a plus b u2. This gives us a u1 plus b u1 you can write, right? Or you can write first a u2 and then plus you will be able to write b u1 and b u2, isn't it? And this can be written as taking out common a and writing u1 and u2 plus b into u1 u2, isn't it? This indicates that I would be able to write this in a u plus b u. Thus this is followed and hence I can say m2 is also followed. Got it? Now let's check the m3. Now to check m3, what is the next axiom m3? M3 axiom is for two scalars AB and the multiplication of these two scalars AB with u. So if AB into a vector u and if this is equals to A into BU or this is equals to B into AU, then the given axiom is said to be followed. Fine. So let us consider a vector u again as u1, u2 and multiply by a scalars AB to it, and if this is equals to I can multiply by two vectors, two scalars AB to u1 and two scalars AB to u2, and I would be able to write in this way, isn't it? And this can be written as by taking out A outside, B u1 and B u2 in this way, or the same thing I will be able to write taking out B outside and A u1 and A u2. This bracket will give me A is equals to A times B u. Why? Because this is nothing but B times u1 u2, and this bracket I would be able to write as B times A, and thus I can say the m2, I think this is m3 is also followed. Now let's check the last multiplication axiom, and last multiplication axiom is for the unit vector. So if the unit vector for any scalar 1 and the multiplication of scalar 1 and a vector u is equals to the vector itself, then the given axiom is said to be followed. Now to check this, again consider a vector u having its elements u1 and u2 and check with the scalar 1. So this will give me 1 into u is equals to 1 into u1 u2, isn't it? And this is equals to 1 u1 and 1 u2. This gives us u1 u2. This is equals to your original vector u, and thus I can say the fourth multiplication axiom is also followed, and ultimately finally I can say all axioms for vectors are followed, are satisfied, and therefore the given element of a vectors x and y is said to be a vector space of a vector v, and hence v is a vector space. Hope you have understood this definition of a vector space, all the axioms of the vector space, properties of the vector space. and tomorrow we'll go for the linear combination of vectors. So thank you.